So we got right now. We're going with the Fury Wilder recap of the fight from 2 nights ago. Just like we predicted on the preview, we were both right. Tyson Fury wins. The fight lasted a little longer than we thought. So props to Deontay Wilder for hanging tough for 11 rounds almost. He fought valiantly. It was a very entertaining fight. The fans loved it. People, it's interesting though, and I was on social media after the fight, and I felt like, people were giving Wilder more credit than Fury, just for hanging in the fight and kind of that Rocky thing of getting beat up and just hanging in there and taking punches and.
Yeah, the main difference between him and Rocky is that Rocky went the distance
and won those fights.
Well, he lost the first one.
Yeah. And
then Mr. T fucked him up in part 3.
True. So Rocky has a couple of losses on his resume, you're saying. He has a couple of losses, right?
He's a fucking ham and egg. He was a ham and egger, bro.
At first.
Yeah, at first.
But he went from a ham and egger to a champione. But
yeah, but Wilder did stay in there. He showed a lot of heart.
Yes, he did. But at the end of the day, the skills paid the bills. And Tyson Fury defended his WBC championship, and a lot of his naysayers were like, well, Fury's never defended his belts. He's never defended a title. Well, you can end that conversation now. Fury defended his belt well. I thought that Wilder came out with the jab to the body early. He was going with that jab to the body, and I feel like that threw Fury off a little bit of his game. And Wilder actually, to me, won the first round. He connected on some of those jabs. He looked a little bit more in tune with his game plan. Fury looked a little confused by those jabs to the body. But by the second round, Wilder was still throwing them. Fury started backing up off of them. He neutralized that a little bit. And I feel like after the second round, Wilder kind of abandoned that whole jab to the body thing. And he started with his normal throwing shots to the head. And then he ended up getting dropped in round 3 by Fury. And so that was a beginning point of the fight. Fury had Wilder up against near the ropes, I believe, and just hit him with one of those hooks to the side of the head that he's been showing in these fights with Wilder. So that he dropped him, but then there was a plot twist after that. After that dropping in round 3 from Fury, right?
Oh yeah, the tables turned.
In round 4, they sure did turn.
He put Fury down twice, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was huge for him. That almost turned the tide for him, but you can't keep a good man down.
No, and you know what? I actually looked at the second knockdown, and I thought that I wasn't sure Fury was even going to get up. He looked a little confused and frustrated and bewildered at that point. I'm looking at him and he's kind of like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on right now? He did get up, and I think there was a little caveat I think people missed where the ref actually, and people don't know this in boxing, the ref stops the count when the fighter does not go to the neutral corner. If you notice, people say, well, he stopped the count. Well, yeah, at 5 because he had to tell Wilder to go to the neutral corner. The count doesn't continue. It stops when you have to tell the fighter. And that actually slowed up and gave Fury enough time to get up in that moment. Because it seemed like the count was a little odd, but it was because Wilder did not go to his neutral corner. So they gave Fury an extra 2 seconds. Fury made the count and was on wobbly legs. And then the second knockdown was weird too. And I don't know if you saw that, but didn't it look like Wilder just kind of threw Fury on the floor? He hit him, but kind of hit him and just threw him down. Which was actually smart.
Yeah, in a way. Because, Fury was manhandling him throughout the fight. Bullying him around, hugging him, put him in headlocks and shit.
I thought that was smart, too, because Fury was hurt at that point, and you just want to get the guy on the ground. So, yeah, Wilder did hit him, but if you watch, he kind of just pushed him after. He was like, just get on the floor. Fury, let me see if I can win this fight right now. You're hurt. So that was actually a smart move by Wilder. Fury got up, and when he got up, he threw a couple of jabs to keep Wilder away. He showed, Fury showed another caveat I saw was when Fury was hurt, he's got a really good poker face where he doesn't show the wobbliness. He's very good at when he gets up, even if his legs are gone, he doesn't show them to be gone. He's really good at showing you that he's okay. And that's key for fighters. A lot of fighters cannot cover the weakness and the hurt when they're hurt. Fury covers it up well. You don't really see it. He got up, he threw some punches. There's a willpower to that when you're hurt in a fight, but you're able to throw punches and keep the guy going for the kill at bay a little bit. Like, I'm okay. Like, don't get too crazy.
You keep that game face going.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought Fury did a great job of that, especially after the second knockdown. He was in big trouble. Another knockdown, and the ref probably would have stopped the fight. So he had to do that. And he was in a world of trouble in that fourth round. By the grace of God, got to the corner, got straightened out by Sugar Hill, came out in the fifth round, and you can tell Wilder punched a lot. They actually blew a few seconds. They gave Wilder a few seconds. The ref did something, but Wilder had thrown a lot of punches, and he was tired already by the third round anyway. So the fifth round, Wilder wasn't as aggressive after the two knockdowns, and it gave Fury a round to kind of like get himself back together. Nothing much happened in the fifth round. Wilder was a little gassed. Fury was getting himself back together. Both fighters made a couple of punches, but it wasn't much. But at that point, that actually gave Fury, that fifth round, the fact that Wilder didn't have the stamina to kind of try to finish Fury and really be aggressive. By the time we got to the sixth round, Fury started to take over the fight in the sixth round. That's when Fury finally got his legs back in round 6, and I think from there on, he just slowly chopped Wilder down slowly but surely took him apart. Showed a lot of different tools in the bag. He had a nice jab. He kept pushing Wilder back. And Anthony was saying during the fight, he's leaning on him and he's like, grabbing him up. They get close and Wilder puts him in that almost like suplex kind of move and he just leans on him.
Looks like he's about to DDT him.
Yeah, exactly. But that drains energy.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That leaning, because Fury's putting 270 pounds on your back. That's a roughhouse tactics. Those old school boxing right there. A lot of people think that's cheating or whatever. That's not cheating. That's how guys fight. That's how guys boxed in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. That's how they fight. That's boxing, like being a technician in the ring, understanding what you're doing. And Fury is, he's got all the tricks, man. He can fight different styles. He throws different punches. He understands situational boxing. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And that's a key. That's what makes him great. Situational boxing, he's like, I got a lighter guy. I want to get inside and rough with him. I don't want to give him room to throw that right hand. So we're going to play inside roughhouse tactics. I'm going to throw him around. I'm going to get him tired. And then I'm going to slowly jab him up and hit him. And, Fury throws those hooks to the side of the head. Them things will knock you silly after a while.
Bro, the homeboy was bleeding from his ear again. Dude. It's a big boy.
Yeah, I know.
Both of them.
Yeah.
But Fury's a monster, dude.
Yes. And, Fury's got more stamina than Wilder. For a bigger guy who's 40 pounds bigger, and Wilder's muscular.
Yeah.
You would think Wilder's lighter, more muscular. Fury's flabby, but Fury has way more stamina than Wilder, which is very interesting.
It's funny what you mentioned on the last podcast. I believe you were talking about Deontay Wilder bulking up, right?
Yeah.
How that was detrimental. Antonio Tarver seems to agree with you.
Yeah.
I saw a little thing that Antonio Tarver he was interviewed. He was talking about the same situation.
Yeah.
So maybe that had something to do with it also. But
because you need more, the more muscle you have, the more oxygen you need for the muscles. So if you're not getting that proper oxygen, the muscles get tired. They're bigger muscles and they get tired, and then they're not functioning as well. So you have to have a lot. That's why when you get muscular and strong like that and cut up, you got to have the stamina and the road work behind it. You got to have miles and miles of running and cardio and building those lungs up crazy, because that you're going to need it in the ring, and you need to spar a ton of rounds. Like, you got to spar and spar and spar and spar. Like, how Manny Pacquiao, people are like, how does he have all that energy in the ring? And he's just like a demon. He just, in the 10th round, he's still throwing crazy punches. Manny, during these training camps, sometimes spars 25 rounds in a row. That's why 12 rounds he's been able to go. He'll do, Manny, I've done 25 rounds in a session of boxing. You got to do stuff like that. because then the 12 rounds don't feel like anything. Wilder looked gassed in the third round. You're not supposed to look gassed in the third round.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, he's just not, either doesn't have great stamina or whatever, but it showed. I did see some improvements from Wilder. I saw him throwing the jab to the body. He was snappy. He also had a nice short right. When he knocked Fury down, when he hurt Fury in the third round, the fourth round, he hit him with a short right. And Wilder's not, I've never seen him really shorten up that right hand, but that was a nice short right. Seems something, a little bit of a new wrinkle he may have added in the year and a half, but that was a nice punch. That's why I think Fury got hurt, because he wasn't expecting that from Wilder. Like a short right hand, kind of Fury coming in. That was definitely a wrinkle that Wilder added to his style, so I got to give him props for that. But overall, Fury's just got so many things he can do in the ring. And when they were on the inside, another thing that I saw, Fury was hitting him with some vicious uppercuts on the inside when they were inside grappling. Yep. And good job by the ref for letting them stay inside and grapple a little bit before he'd break it up. But Fury hit some vicious uppercuts on Wilder in those inside holds. And that took a lot out of Wilder also. Those were some shots he took. And I think Wilder hit Fury with a couple himself, but I saw Fury hit a couple of nice, vicious inside right uppercuts. And uppercuts, I think uppercuts sometimes hurt the most because they're coming up on your chin.
Oh, yeah,
like
that sure rock your brain.
Yeah, those are brain rattlers.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Hell yeah. But overall, he got the bricks beat off of him, bro.
And that last knockout in the 11th when he just was totally tired.
He was done.
He just felt like you see that shot you showed me where he's
the slow-mo video of it.
Oh my goodness,
dude, it's almost like ballet, bro. It was just dropped him.
He's just falling on an angle like boom.
I really don't want to say this, but I think that may be Homeboy's last fight.
Wilder?
I don't think he can recover psychologically from that.
I think, yeah.
Because he's weak-minded to begin with. You know, especially with all the blaming. He didn't even shake his hand after the fight.
That was terrible.
It wasn't even a good sportsman.
That was terrible.
He's suspect 100%.
That's what happens when your fan base is you have a fan base that's a cult-like, delusional, insane. It became a psychosis with his fan base, bro. It was a psychosis. Fury's a cheater, and he's gonna like. It was like, what? The stuff these videos that these YouTube guys were showing, they were showing Fury's gloves from the first fight to prove that he cheated in the second fight. How does that make sense? They're showing because Fury wore different gloves in the first and second fight. Mm-hmm. They were showing him in the first fight and saying this is how he cheated, but that was pictures from the first fight, but he cheated in the second fight. Like, it's like, what? And then they're talking about the boar's meat that he took 5 years ago. He failed for I forgot, was some of those drone, Nanola drone or some shit like that. He failed the test for, but you know that was for a different fight and years ago. That has nothing to do with now. Like, you know, if Wilder can VADA test, and if Wilder VADA test, Fury's going to VADA test, and that's it. So either or. You don't want to VADA test, you want to VADA test. Both fighters are going to be on the same plane. So that really has nothing to do with anything. The costume thing, they spiked his water bottle. They were saying. They also said that Mark Breland was taking cues from one of the Durrell brothers in the crowd, saying to throw the towel in, and that the Durrell brother was like giving signals or something like that. I mean, I heard the craziest shit, bro. He had egg weights in his gloves. Even though Wilder's trainer Jay Diaz was in the dressing room while Fury was getting his gloves done, like
He just. Bro, those weren't egg weights. Those were just heavy gypsy fucking hands.
Yeah, those big
From
monster
years
those
bare
claws.
Knuckle boxing.
Yeah,
it's through the DNA, bro.
Yes, talk about that.
Through the DNA.
Talk about that.
These guys are, legit. That lineage comes from legit bare knuckle boxers.
Yes, his father and grandfather were bare knuckle champions.
Yeah. So don't you think that goes through your DNA?
Yeah, of course it does. That's why Fury's like a bear with claws, bro. When you see his hands, they almost go through the fucking. He's 6'9" and he's got like Kawhi Leonard hands.
A monster, bro. A fucking monster.
Like, his frame is so big. If you take a good look at Fury, he can carry 300 pounds, no problem. 270 is light for him, I think. I think at 290, he can move around and be fine. That frame is huge on him. Like, he can carry a lot of weight, that guy.
See, now, I would not want to see Tyson Fury in his alcohol, cocaine-infused depression mode. Because at that point, he's probably over 320.
Dude, he was 400 pounds.
400 pounds.
Came back from 400 pounds.
Jacked up on a little komisikam, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit of that. Drinking like an animal.
Yeah, bro, it was bad.
But not want to be around that guy. That's bad news. The guy is a fucking Goliath. A Goliath. Now, back to Wilder. I really don't think this guy's going to have another fight.
I kind of agree. I can't see it.
Maybe in a few years he'll do like a big money fight where him and Charlie Z will fight in title boxing gym.
He's gonna do. Yeah, he's got the rematch with Charlie Z.
He might say some like stupid shit about him after the fight, and then he'll go track him down and go fight him in some swanky boxing gym in whatever fucking town Charlie Z's from.
Yeah, I want to see Charlie Z's recap of the fight. So I want to see Charlie Z's comments on the Wilder Fury
He's like,
fight.
yeah, I knocked him out.
Charlie
knocked
Z's gonna take credit for the win, right?
I knocked him out. I knocked out Sugar Hill. I knocked him out.
How much would you pay pay-per-view for a Charlie Z Wilder pay-per-view?
I wouldn't even turn my TV on for that shit.
Bro, I'll pay $20 for that.
I would not want to see Charlie Z's funeral live on pay-per-view.
I would. That's what I'll pay $20
Yeah,
for.
that kid's a bit of a fucking moron, but
I'd love to. Yeah, Charlie Z Wilder rematch. How about me and somebody on the undercard?
you know what? Another thing that killed me about this fight were those fucking ring entrances. What is it? Is this a sport or is this a fucking circus? That shit was so whack.
I know, it's kind
Especially Wilder and that kid walking through. He was rapping. He was lip syncing. That shit was coin. If you're gonna pull that off, pull it off. You know,
I don't know
do
what
it
that
right.
was.
The song was whack. The kid wasn't even rapping.
I like Fury's costume though. I like the Viking hat
That was dope.
because I'm a Viking.
But
so I
still,
like the
it's
Viking
still
hat.
those theatrics are unnecessary. This
Yeah,
isn't
they're-
fucking wrestling.
Yeah,
This isn't 1980s WWF.
it's kind of becoming wrestling though, a little bit.
Eh.
It's a little bit wrestling-ish, like the hype and all the the just it is got a wrestling
Press
thing to
conferences,
it.
the little
Yeah.
shoot interviews.
Yeah, they do
the
all that stuff.
24/7 stuff.
They
You
do
know,
all that stuff now. Yes, it's a
disgusting.
little bit of crossover, especially on the PBC side. They're very much WWE-ish. If you watch them, their boxing series. Also, the undercard, not bad. Like I said Frank Sanchez is going to beat Ajagba. I got it in a preview. He won. He won by decision. Even though there's a couple of weird things in that fight. Sanchez kind of went down on a little flash knockdown, and the referee said no. I did think they should have scored that a knockdown. Ajagba did hit him with a jab while he was throwing a hook and got caught, and then his gloves touched the canvas. So that is a knockdown by rule. They missed that. And then I think when Sanchez knocked Ajagba down, he was on one knee, and Sanchez clobbered him while he was down. They could have called that a DQ or something. They could have at least took a point away from Sanchez on that. So Sanchez got a couple of good calls, but Sanchez did outbox Ajagba. The Cuban style was too much for Ajagba. He's not ready for all that yet. He's not refined enough to handle the counterpunching. Sanchez sent a couple messages in the first two rounds like, look at this. This is world level boxing. Welcome to world level boxing. Welcome to world level counterpunching. And he countered a couple of those jabs with some thunderous uppercuts and hooks. And I don't think Ajagba's ever seen anything like that. And that slowed his work rate down by a lot. And then you could see later in the fight, his idiot. And Ajagba had one of the worst corners I ever seen. The guy's just like, throw your hands. Throw your hand, throw more punches. Like, what is it? What are we in the park and you guys are fighting your homeboy in the
fucking
park?
slap boxing.
Yeah, like what was that corner? Like Ajagba, do yourself a favor, fire your trainer, get a new corner. That dude had no clue what to tell you in the championship rounds of that fight. No clue. The guy's telling you, just throw your hands, throw more punches. Like, okay, what kind of punches? Like, where's the weak spot? What do you want me to do? Jab? Throw more jabs? Should I come inside? Like, dude, tell me a game plan. you know. And the reason he wasn't throwing more punches was because the counter from Sanchez was serious. He never seen nothing like that before.
Yeah, that was some ill counter punching.
Yeah,
I have to
and he's
say.
explosive, Sanchez too.
Yeah, I like Sanchez a lot in that fight.
Yeah, he's a dangerous fight. He showed something. He moves around the ring very well, typical Cuban style. Got a good jab, can throw. What punch did I like that he was throwing? He was throwing a nice like hard upper jab, and then like he had a little hook, a long, winding hook that was coming with that. Sanchez is impressive, and he in the pocket. He's quick with the 2-3 punch combinations. Bang, bang, bang. Sanchez is a guy that you're gonna look at and be like, maybe I don't want to fight him. Is there anybody else you got? Maybe I could fight. Like, he's kind of like the Ugas of heavyweights. I saw a lot of that. He very Ugas like. You know, counter punchers, guys don't like fighting those type of guys. They can catch you. It's not a comfortable fight. You second guess everything you throw in a little bit. The fight can also get boring because he's not leading the throws as much, and then you kind of if you don't have his timing down, you don't want to throw. So there was some points in that fight where the fans were very restless.
Yeah.
Nobody was throwing.
Yep.
You know, each guy, I don't think either fighter landed more than 65 punches in a 10-round fight. So It was a little slow. It was definitely... And then you had the opposite of that. In the other undercard fight was Helenius and Kaunacki, where Kaunacki's just throwing a whole bunch of punches, and Helenius was just smashing him with a 1-2. He just has Kaunacki timed, where Kaunacki dives in. And you know what Helenius was doing really good at? Stepping back. When they get close, he pushed Kaunacki off, step back, give himself enough room. So as soon as Kaunacki was ready to come in, that 1-2 was coming. Boom, boom. And he was drilling Kaunacki with that 1-2, Helenius. I mean, Lord have mercy, Kaunacki's eye was shut by the middle of the second round.
Yeah. I was saying they should stop the fight.
You were. They finally did.
Bro, I was sounding like fucking, what's his face? Tony in Rocky IV. It was like, throw the damn towel.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
He fucked him up. And you could tell, like, and I think it was the third round where his eye was just so puffed up, and you could see he was squinting.
Yeah, he was squinting.
Like, he couldn't even see out the eye.
That shit hurt, too.
Yeah, bro.
That shit was stinging him.
And Helenius, that guy's a monster, bro.
He hits
He's
hard.
huge.
People sleep on him, on Helenius. He has a nice fluid 1-2. I seen some uppercuts. I saw him throwing a different array of punches. He was like practicing on Kaunacki, like a moving punching bag. Wow, this is fun. I got a nice big moving punch. He was hitting with hellacious body shots.
Kaunacki just kept going after him too.
Which
you gotta take your hat off for him for that. But
yeah,
dude, he got fucked up.
Kaunacki's got to learn how to come with that pressure style with at least a little bit of head movement or some deception in the footwork or something. He's just coming straight forward, and Helenius is just lighting you up. You got to do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing and getting smashed every time you do it. Because Helenius was doing it perfectly. He would push Kaunacki off, create some distance and enough distance so where as soon as Kaunacki came forward, there was enough distance, perfect distance for him to go get you with that left hook, that little left jab, and that bang straight right. And it wasn't that. When he got a little closer, he hit him with a hook to the body or an uppercut. I mean, he was smashing Kaunacki, man.
They ended up stopping the fight, though,
Yeah,
right?
because Kaunacki...
What round?
Sixth.
In the sixth, yeah.
And that was because Kaunacki got so frustrated a couple times. He was punching Helenius in the balls.
Yeah.
And he got a point taken away for that. He did it like 2-3 times.
Yeah, I remember at one point, Helenius was like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah. That's... It was worse than the first fight. Kaunacki actually did better in the first fight, so he's in trouble, man. That's 2 losses in a row to Helenius. The second one looked big. And now Helenius is definitely the WBA mandatory now for Usyk. So, and also today, Anthony Joshua activated the rematch clause. So Usyk and Joshua will have a rematch next. That will be the next fight for both guys, probably in March, I think. Eddie Hearn was saying. So Joshua Usyk will be in March, which means there will not be undisputed yet. So that means Tyson Fury is going to have to fight the winner of Dillian Whyte and Otto Wallin on October 30th.
Interesting.
That's a definite because the WBC president Suleiman already said Fury after the if Whyte wins against Wallin or whoever wins, he's going to activate the mandatory for Fury, which will be the winner of that fight. And you know what? I'm going to be really hyped for Dillian White to win against Otto Wallin. And I like Otto Wallin. I really don't like this fight because I kind of like Otto Wallin too. But Dillian White deserves a mandatory chance. A lot of people have not spoken about this, but tell me what fighter in the history of boxing, or going back to at least the 60s, right, has a better resume than Dillian White at the heavyweight level or any level without having a title shot yet. Like, Dillian White has not had a world title shot yet. Look at his resume. First of all, Dillian White beat Helenius. That guy Helenius, who's White beat him, beat Derek Chisora twice, beat Joseph Parker, beat Oscar Rivas. Somebody else I can't think of right now. Beat who did he beat in his last fight? Oh, beat Povetkin. He lost to Povetkin, but beat Povetkin in the rematch. Knocked him out. He did lose to Anthony Joshua at the British level. But, I mean, he's got a nice rack up of wins. Like, most guys get their championship fights, like, with half that resume. I mean, that's a big-time resume, and he still hasn't fought. And he's going to have to beat Wallin, too, to get that title shot. So, if anyone deserves, I'm going to be going hard for Dillian on the 30th. I really want him to win. He definitely deserves his day in the sun. And I think, most people are not going to give White a chance if he gets to that fight against Fury. I've already heard nobody's going to give him a chance. I think White has a chance to beat Tyson Fury. As good as Tyson Fury is, as skilled, as talented, as big, as all of that, White has a chance to win that fight.
Where's he fight out of?
He's also Brit.
He's a Brit?
Yep. And they have a rivalry. They've sparred before, and there's been stories and whatnot. And I do know one thing. They've talked shit to each other before. They've had their run-ins. White's had basically like beef with everybody at heavyweight. He's a funny guy, Dillian White. I'm really a fan of his. Dillian actually said something to Fury one time. He said, I want to fight you. And Fury said, okay, go make the title fight. Go to the WBC president Suleiman and make the title fight make it for the WBC Diamond Belt. Have them put the WBC Diamond Belt on the line, and I'll fight you. Dillian went and Hearn did that. They got the okay from Suleiman, and he said, okay, it could be for the Diamond Belt. And when they went back to Fury said, nah, I'm not doing it. That happened.
Really?
That's real. That's why, and I didn't forget that. That's why I feel like White can beat Fury. I'm definitely going to, if that fight happens, I'm definitely betting White. And I think it's crazy. I know I'm talking and I'm kind of raining on Fury's part, but I think Dillian White, if he fights Fury, he's going to knock him out. I just have this feeling about it. I was telling Rick Laser, who's actually a friend of mine, I don't talk about that yet. We might end up having Rick on the show one day.
That'd be awesome.
It's true. Yeah. And and he was like, no way. He's like, nah, Fury's the best heavyweight in the world. White has no chance against him. And I understand the sentiment of that. I definitely understand the reason why people are saying that. I'm not knocking that. I just have one of those feelings about it, about White. But yeah, not to get too far ahead of ourselves. Fury, WBC champion, can't take nothing away. He's probably the number 1 rated heavyweight in the world right now, and deservedly so. I have to put him at number 1. Looks like we got things lined up properly, though. Usyk Joshua rematch, White and Wallin for the WBC mandatory spot. Winner faces Fury. Helenius is in that WBA mandatory spot too, so eventually he's going to get a chance. He may have it if they don't go undisputed after Usyk fights Joshua for the second fight. If they don't do it undisputed right off the bat, the winner may fight Helenius of Usyk Joshua may fight Helenius, which would be an interesting fight.
That'd be real dope.
And then there's other guys laying around. I think Joe Joyce is the WBO mandatory. He's looking for a fight. I'm trying to think if he signed to fight somebody. I don't know who his next fight is, but there's a lot going on. Also, on this week coming up, couple good fights the next couple of weeks. We got a nice super middleweight contest between 2 former champions. David Benavidez, the young 2-time WBC champion, who a lot of people think is really the only guy that can beat Canelo in the 168 range. And
I don't think anyone could beat Canelo.
Watch the fight this week with Benavidez.
Time will beat Canelo eventually, but
Watch
I don't
Benavidez
think it's
this
time
weekend
yet.
fighting Jose Uzcategui, who's the former IBF super middleweight world champion who lost to Caleb Plant. That's how Caleb Plant won the IBF from Uzcategui. Okay. Uzcategui fights Benavidez, the former WBC champ who lost his belt on the scales by missing weight at 168. He also had a suspension for little cocaina. But Benavidez is a talented young fighter. The only thing I think with him is I think that he's struggling to make 168. And I could see him a little weight drained for a fight with Uzcategui at 168. And Uzcategui can punch. He can fight a little bit. I think that could be an interesting fight. I would like to see what Benavidez looks. I'm interested to see how Benavidez looks against Uzcategui, who might be either his toughest or second toughest opponent of his career. So, and interested to see if Benavidez can make weight. Like, he looks way too big for 168. Like, he definitely should be at 175 now. Sort of like how Callum Smith just moved up to 175. I don't know how Benavidez even makes 168. I heard that he walks around at like 220, and that looks about right. He's like a cruiserweight already, right? Like Benavidez. Mm-hmm. So and then the week after that is a fight I really, really, really like. WBO super featherweight champion Jamel Herring will be the underdog. Defending his title against Shakur Stevenson, the young, up-and-coming lion, one of the future stars of the sport. You know, he's already been ordained. He was the WBO featherweight champion. He dropped his belt, moved up to 130. He's a growing boy. He's getting bigger, and he's been trying to get fights. So he's going to fight Jamel Herring for the WBO title at 130. Now, the champion Herring is a 5-1 underdog in this fight, by the way.
Wow.
Shakur Stevens is a huge favorite against Jamel Herring in this fight. And I think Herring's going to win. I think Herring is going to defend his title and beat the much younger Stevenson. And they actually are kind of in the same camp. They're both top rank. They're both with Bud. They're both very close to Bud Crawford. I think Crawford promotes Herring. Crawford's very tight with Stevenson. They've been around each other a lot. They're kind of friendly, but now they kind of coming up with that beef. And the younger guy Stevenson's talking trash, and Herring's a former Marine, so he's a very straightforward kind of dude, a good upstanding dude. I think he's a lot more mature than Stevenson. So even though Stevenson may have a little more talent, maybe a little bit more talented and skilled, Herring's got skills. Herring's tough, and Herring's coming off a really good win against Carl Frampton, knocking him out and basically destroying Carl Frampton in that fight. And I actually bet Carl Frampton, so I was impressed with Herring in that fight. I think he's going to beat Stevenson. A lot of people don't believe it. Most fans love Stevenson. They don't think he'll ever lose. I think Herring's going to win that fight. So that's in 2 weeks. Then you get the White Wallin. The week after that is the Dillian White Wallin fight. And then the week after that is Canelo versus Plant.
What?
So we got next 4 weeks, got some pretty good action coming along. So it's going to be pretty good in the boxing world. So yeah, that's about it. The Big Dosser, Deontay Wilder.
Did you see his stool? The stool that he was sitting on?
Who, Fury?
Fury?
You got a picture of the Dosser?
There's a picture of a banged up Deontay Wilder, and it said Big Dosser on it. He's a fucking goon, bro.
I also want to give a shout out to Sugar Hill. I think he's a great trainer.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that he is the key to Fury basically upgrading. It was a great move Fury made before the second fight to cut out Ben, what's his name? Ben Stevens or whatever it is. I can't remember his name. Something like that. Ben Stevens or whatever his name is. His old trainer, and get with Sugar Hill. Basically, the thing that Fury needed at that point was what Sugar Hill provided. And that was power and sitting down on your punches and adding power shots to your arsenal. Because Fury was not known for that. And I think Sugar Hill completed him. That bond made Tyson into a monster. Like, he really upgraded Fury, made him into a complete fighter, so Sugar Hill gets a lot of credit. I think Malik Scott did a good job with Wilder in this fight. I think he added a few wrinkles to Wilder. Wilder was more spirited. He showed a lot of grit. I think Malik is new at training. There was a few times in the corner where it seemed like he didn't know what to say, but overall, I think he did a good job with adding some wrinkles to Wilder's game, so I got to give him credit. But yeah, Sugar Hill and Tyson Fury, and you could tell they're good friends, like they hang out. You catch a vibe off them. They're an awesome combination. As long as they're together, Tyson Fury is going to be very hard to beat.
I agree.
So, good boxing recap, good weekend of boxing.
Let's wait for these next fights, man.
Yeah, got some good fights
Very
coming.
exciting for the next month, 2 months.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of good
dude.
matchups coming up. So that's going to be fun from here till New Year's. It's going to be good boxing. So we can't wait. And we'll catch you. We'll be back soon with some NFL recap for the week. You know, our usual NFL MVPs that are coming up this week. You know, that MVP race in the NFL is getting real hot. And
we got the Manning cast tonight.
Oh, Manning cast. Let's go check the Manning
Yeah.
cast. Have some fun, bro. Drink a couple of brews.
Let's watch this Monday Night Football.
All right, y'all.